You're thinking of moving to Treasure Valley, Boise area, and you're looking at buying new construction, but you want to know all the pros and cons of buying new construction. This video is for you. We're getting after it right now. We're going to be covering all the pros and cons of buying new construction so you can make the best decision for you, whether you want to buy new construction here in Idaho or maybe buy something that's a resale home that someone has already moved into. And real quick, my name is Curtis Chism with the Chism team, and we help people relocate to the Treasure Valley. And we get calls all the time from people just like you looking to move here to the Treasure Valley and the Boise area. If that's you, please reach out to us, whether you're looking to move in the next 9 days or 90 days or even the next 2 years. Reach out to us. We'll jump on a call. We'll jump on a Zoom call, figure out what you're looking for, your lifestyle, and help you figure out the best area that you want to move in based on your lifestyle. We've got videos that are dropping here all the time, so don't forget to hit subscribe. They're dropping every single week, all about living in Boise in the Treasure Valley area so that you can find the best area that's best for you and your family when you're moving out here to the Treasure Valley. And let's get after the pros and cons of living in Treasure Valley and buying new construction homes. So the first thing that you need to keep in mind when you're buying new construction homes is that most likely landscaping is not going to be included. Now, the front yard probably will be included. However, the backyard is definitely not going to be included unless you're buying a fully custom home or maybe a semi-custom home. But if you're buying a home from one of the big builders like CBH or HUBBLE or HAYDEN homes, then most likely exterior landscaping in the backyard will not be included, and you're going to have to spend a lot of money to landscape that backyard. And unfortunately, what happens here is that because the soil is so hard, because they've scraped that topsoil off from the farmland that they're building on right now, it's rock hard. And you plant grass on that or try to put plants in there, fruit trees, it's so hard that the soil doesn't, the grass doesn't take to the soil and it dies. So you have to over excavate that, and that's a lot of expense, and then put a new topsoil before you plant your grass. So keep that in mind. And also, because it's so hard, you can have standing water because the water is not filtering through into the soil. So you need to install a French drain, which is basically a big hole with a lot of gravel in it that goes down into the sand layer, 10, 15 feet down, and the water trickles through that and filters out and gets off your property. So those are a couple things to keep in mind. You got no landscaping and you got a really hard soil that you got to deal with before you start landscaping your yard. The other thing too is that there may or may not be fencing, and the HOAs are going to require fencing in these communities as well. So a lot of them do have them, but some of them don't. And that can be an extra expense that you weren't planning on when you're buying a new construction home. Now, the next thing up is that in some of these homes, you're going to have lower quality building materials than you might have in a resale home or in another higher end community as well. So that's how some of these builders keep costs down, of course, is they are choosing cheaper construction materials and methods. So for example, in CBH homes, you're going to have laminate countertops in the kitchens and in the bathrooms. So unless you're buying an upgrade, which is hard to get, a lot of the builders, these tract home builders, they're not going to give you upgrades. That's another kind of con, is that you're not getting a lot of upgrade options. And if you do, it's expensive and it delays things. So it's pretty much, this is what you see, what you get. You're getting laminate countertops everywhere. Now, a HUBBLE home, you might get an actual granite countertop in the kitchen or a manufactured stone slab, but then you're going to get laminate elsewhere. You're also going to get cheaper flooring materials. Like the home I bought, the carpet was terrible. It was so bad, very disappointing. My wife was, her father was a floor covering contractor in California, and she helped them install tons and tons of flooring over the years. So she was super disappointed, and of course, it's just not very comfortable and it wears out fast. So that's the way to keep costs down, is cheaper building materials, and then also just cheaper construction methods. So for instance, in a lot of these homes, you're going to find these vents that are installed above the doors of the bedrooms. And what that is a pass-through airflow for the return air of the air conditioning and heating system. And the way it works is that air conditioning and heating needs a supply air and it needs a return air for the air to balance and escape and balance the temperature. So what they do is, instead of installing a single duct for the return air in each of the rooms, they put return airs in the living rooms and maybe the master bedroom, but then they don't install them in each bedroom. And then the air just kind of passes through above those doors when the door's shut to balance everything out. Now, The con of that is, of course, you've got a lot of extra sound that's going to transfer between the rooms. So if you've got babies or kids that are trying to sleep or take naps, you've got more sound you got to deal with. So, and if you try to block them up, then to deal with the sound, then you have unbalanced airflow and your rooms are going to get hotter or colder depending on the situation. So that's kind of a bummer, but that's something to keep in mind with new construction as far as cons. The other thing too, going back to the exterior, is you are going to have pretty much a very small patio that they're going to install, probably like a 10 by 10 patio, maybe a 10 by 20 if you're lucky. I don't know about you, but I like to have much more concrete in my backyard. I like it nice and clean. So you're going to get this little dinky 10 foot by 10 foot slab, and that's what you get. So then you got to go pour more concrete, which is expensive, or you do grass in your entire backyard, which you see a lot of here in the Treasure Valley. Another con is you're really not going to have very many appliances that are installed. You're going to have a range, but you're not going to have a refrigerator. You're not going to have a washer dryer. So those are just added expenses that you have to deal with when you're buying a house. Also, you're not going to have blinds on the windows, so you got to go out and spend money on blinds. So there can be thousands of dollars up front in appliances, blinds, and the landscaping, and maybe concrete work, depending on how much you want to do. But obviously you have to have appliances and you need to have blinds too, right? So those are some hidden expenses that you may not have been expecting when buying a new construction home. The other thing too, going to contracts, is that it's hard to get out of the contracts. They're going to have an earnest money deposit that's typically non-refundable. Now, usually they're fairly low, a few $1,000s, but if you back out, oftentimes then they'll come after you for liquidated damages. And so that's going to be an extra fee on top. Liquidated damages has nothing to do with water. It's just a contract term that basically says, hey, you harmed me by pulling out of the contract, so you owe me money to help me recover my losses. So that could be another $5,000 depending on what's written in the contract. So if you back out for whatever reason, you may end up losing $7,000 to $10,000. And also appraisals, if the appraised price of the home comes in below the purchase price, the way these contracts are written is that you're going to be on the hook for that difference in the cost. So that's something that needs to be addressed and negotiated up front. The other thing too is that these builders are going to try to dissuade you from getting an inspection, but it's super important to get an inspection. You can go on one of the big builders' website, CBH, and it just says right there, it doesn't say don't get an inspection, but it says, hey, before you waste your money and spend $500 on an inspection, let me tell you exactly what we do to prepare the home as a pre-inspection. So they're trying to encourage you, like, hey, make you feel like good about that they're doing their job, but they're saying, hey, these are all things we do as a pre-inspection to make sure the house is delivered in a high quality manner. But here's the things that we'll cover and here's what we won't cover in an inspection. So those are things you got to kind of fight it out with the builder sometimes, but definitely get an inspection. When we inspected our new construction home, we found a missing gusset plate on the trusses in the roof. And so an actual framing member was already popping out. Brand new home. And we found this in the inspection. We found some mold in the crawl space that had to be addressed. And we found out the furnace didn't work either. So they had to come in and get all that fixed. So, they're good for it, of course, but you might save $500 and then find out that you should have spent the $500 and got all that stuff fixed. So let's dive into some pros of buying new construction as well. I mean, the number one thing is these are brand new homes that no one has lived in. All the systems are brand new. You have a lot of life and longevity left on these systems, like your AC, your furnace, your flooring, your roof. You've got years left. You know that no one has not maintained it, right? I look at it as like buying a new car. I like to buy a new car. I like to know that I maintained it properly. I want to know that that no one else abused it and didn't maintain it properly. So I kind of look at buying a house the same way. It's nice to buy something that no one's lived in, no one's abused it. It's a clean start and you can maintain it properly. So I really like it from that standpoint. And there's lower maintenance cost, of course, as well, because things aren't breaking because they're all brand new. Now, of course, it's good to save money to replace those things when they do break down the road. But up front, you're going to have very, very low maintenance cost, even though you're going to have some higher costs dealing with landscaping and blinds and appliances. Now, the other thing too is you are getting very modern floor plans as well. So you're getting nice, light, bright homes. They tend to be on the larger side. They're not all chopped up with walls and weird places that make it feel small and constricted. So I really like the modern floor plans that you're going to find in these homes. You're also getting very energy efficient homes. These homes are being built with modern standards that are very energy efficient. They're going to reduce your heating and cooling bills And a lot of these homes are going to be smart homes as well. So you can control your lighting and your heating and air conditioning remotely as well, which is a cool feature. And what's really cool is you are getting a warranty with the home. So each builder is going to be different depending on what they're offering. But for instance, Hubble Homes offers a 1-year warranty for materials and workmanship, a 1 year on all the major systems, and a 6-year warranty on the structural components of the home. Now, I wish it was a little bit longer overall, but it's pretty darn good. And so I know people that love having the warranty just as a peace of mind when buying a new construction home. You're also getting a blank slate. This goes back to having a nice modern home, but you're getting a blank slate, nice neutral colors, and you can customize it exactly how you want when you move in. Also, these new communities, they're going to tend to have really nice new amenities like clubhouses and pools and big open spaces. So these are modern homes, modern communities with all the latest and greatest features. Now, this is something to go either way depending on how you look at it, but I like having an established neighborhood where you have established trees that are nice and grown up, but those really only exist unless if the neighborhood is about 15 years old. That's when they get to be a decent size. And then you have the nice tree-lined streets with the green trees in the spring and summer, and then the fall colors in the fall. But if you're in a new construction home, you're going to have, or community, you're going to have these smaller trees they're just small. They're going to take a long time to get there. They're going to take 15 years to get there. The benefit, though, of course, is that you're not going to have as many leaves to deal with. You don't have as much pollen to deal with. And you're going to have much sap. Some of the trees drip sap. When I first moved here into an Airbnb, when I was waiting for my home to be completed, I had to park under these 2 trees, and one had drip sap all over it, all over my truck. And then the other one dropped these little like kind of pine cone type things all over it. And I would have to wash my truck every couple days to deal with the sap and the pollen that was coming from these trees. It was terrible. So that's something that can go either way depending on how you look at it. And the other thing too, which is again, can kind of go either way, is just when you're looking at homes on the MLS, like when you're looking at Zillow or Redfin, that kind of thing, what's available, what they're showing online probably isn't actually what's available. They like to use homes as kind of lead magnets to drive people in to get them to talk to the builder, and then, oh, actually that home's not available, but we've got these other couple homes that are similar that are available. So you might be all excited about one home and then find out that, oh, we don't have that, but we've got this one, and it doesn't have that 3rd car garage, it only has 2, that kind of thing. So it can be a little misleading. That's why it's important to work with someone like us where we stay in touch with the builders regularly to find out what they actually have, get the actual list so that we can get them to you and say, hey, this is what's actually out there right now. Those are the pros and cons of buying new construction here in the Boise and Treasure Valley area. If you're looking to buy a new construction home and you want to buy with a team that knows new construction, I myself have bought new construction as well, then I would love to have that conversation. You just got to reach out to my team and we will jump on a Zoom call. We'll figure out what is the lifestyle for you and where you want to live, whether that is in Eagle, you want to be right next to the river, right next to the Greenbelt, or you want to be in Nampa, more out in the country, out in the farm field, slower pace of life. So it just depends on what you're looking for, what your budget is, what kind of amenities you're looking for. Are you looking for that RV bay, or are you looking, like I said, to be close to that river? So you just got to reach out, whether you're 9 days or 90 days out or 2 years out, reach out. Let's have that conversation. Let's get to know each other. We'd love to talk to you. And don't forget to hit subscribe and hit like on this video as well. It really helps us out. And we got new videos dropping every single week about living here in the Boise and Treasure Valley area to help you figure out what neighborhood is the best for you. And we'll see you on the next video.